Well, hey everyone. I've been sharing my life with you for quite some time now. When I started this channel, we were living at the homestead in New York, and that place was on grid power. And the videos that I shared with you then were mostly your general all-around homesteading topics. You know, gardens and chickens and canning and living the simple life of heating and cooking with wood, stuff like that. But the majority of the filming that I did was from my off-grid cabin, where a lot of you had found my channel through those videos, and you have followed us right up to today, and you've been with us since. You watched us sell that homestead in New York and then move to New Hampshire to our old family hunting camp, where I did a total renovation of the place, made it livable. We carved out a section of yard, took the trees down, stumped it, made gardens, built a workshop and a chicken coop, and you've been following us through our off-grid lifestyle. Now this is our 6th year up here on the mountain. So people that follow along and they watch our journey and they see how we live off the grid and we handle the challenges of it all and how we maintain harmony in this lifestyle. And a lot of people fantasize about that simple lifestyle, even though living off the grid is far from simple. So through the years, I have been getting the same type of comments over and over and over from people that fantasize about living off the grid. And my response to them all are usually the same. And I tell them that if you have access to power and you just want to be unplugged, chances are, if you go off the grid after a lifetime of conditioning, of being on grid, all you are going to be doing is struggling that much more to run all of your electric things. And that's the truth. Probably last year, or maybe even the year before, when we started this project, and we were having the shed delivered, I told you that since the power runs right by, we would hook power to this, and the shed would end up being used for our spice business when we start that back up again. So we had the power brought in. Yeah, I'll show you. Driveway goes down to the pavement there, and the power goes by. So we brought power in overhead to here. And I put a pedestal. Then we went underground to the shed and powered up the shed. Now we keep freezer and stuff in there, but we are going to be popping those doors off, putting a man door, fixing the shed up and using that for our spice business. So with the power running right by like that and a little hop, skip and a jump to the shed, well, I'm going to take advantage of it. It makes a lot more sense than trying to beat my head against the wall by setting up solar here or running a generator and stuff like that. It's right here. This building will be used for business, so the electric bill will be a business expense. I put an exterior outlet on the shed here, and with some heavy cord, I've been running over 200 feet of cord out through the woods for the garage project. You see, it runs through the woods all the way out to where we're building the garage. When we first started building the garage, I think the first day or two of the project, we were running the generator. And with the price of fuel and everything, I said, this is going to be costly. So I got some heavy extension cords and I ran them out, and I had 200-footers and a 50-footer. And I wanted to see if there would be some line loss, if the tools would hesitate. Well, running the chop saw and the table saw and the compressor and everything, I had no hesitation. It worked just fine. So we ran extension cords and we built the whole garage and had our first electric bill after several years, and was pleasantly surprised that the bill was like $17.35, something like that. And the next bill was about the same. And I think all of the bills were like $17 to $21 to build that garage. It would have cost me a lot more than that to fiddle fart with the generator to build that. And I hate listening to a generator. Now, anybody that has been following my channel for a while knows that my finished product is often quite different than my initial plans were when I started out. I'm an artist, I'm a carpenter, and once my project starts taking form, I look at it in a different light, so to speak. I get new ideas and make a lot of changes, like I did with this thing. But at the time that we brought power to that little shed up front, our plans at the time were eventually we would trench from the shed to the garage and run underground power to the garage, because this garage is going to be used for business as well. The upstairs portion will be used for the formulation and packing of products. The shed in the front would be used to store all of the bulk spices. We buy several spices in drums. The last year that we had the food business, just paprika alone, we used something like 290 pounds or something of paprika. So having that building up front for the storage and also to be used as a shipping depot, so UPS could just come right in on a daily basis, take the packages away. So both the shed and the garage, both buildings that are used for business, will be on the grid. But then when we build our new house down here, which is about 400 feet or so as the crow flies from the garage. But down here, we are in the perfect spot for solar power. Steep slope facing south, no obstructions for the solar, just fantastic. We'll have sun all day long and a good view, and we'll have all the solar power we need. So we'll be off the grid down here. If the grid goes down or power goes out for any reason or any length of time, we will be all set because we'll have all the solar power we need. And when the grid is on, we will have the convenience of being on grid. We will have the best of both worlds and set up better than ever. So I'm just walking down to the home site here. I know a lot of you had been following us when we started clearing off this hillside. There's still a lot more to cut, but there's a lot of newcomers to the channel, and I'll just give you a little glimpse of where we're going to put a new house. So I'm just coming down to the home site here. You can see we like to sit here and enjoy. So this is a steep canyon, drops right off. We got that nice hill there. Then that goes down and passes like this, and that mountain range passes right behind it. When there's no leaves on the trees, oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. And we plan to clear a swath all the way to the boundary down there and taking all of that out, and we'll actually see another mountain range behind it. It's a really unique view because you have kind of like a canyon view, because this is a canyon. There's water down there, there's a brook down there, and you have this like right up close and in your face, and then the distant mountain range. And it's just a wonderful spot. And the sun passes by like this. Perfect. Really nice. Now, as my subscribers already know, we live on the wrong side of the mountain, especially for solar power. The terrain from our place up just keeps going uphill until it reaches the summit and drops back down. And that whole hillside is laden with monstrous pine trees. In the middle of the summer, when the sun is straight up, we have plenty of sun for the garden. Our solar power is working great. But at this time of the year, as the sun is starting to dip down a little bit, those pine trees shade us. And in the wintertime, our solar power is very minimal. Another big struggle about living where we are is we're up on the mountain, and we will have a foot of snow on the ground. We will walk the 1.6 miles down to where our vehicles are parked, and it'll be bare ground. And then we just drive the 1.7 miles to town, and people have daffodils poking up. So we do our errands or go to town to do an upload, and then get back up to the mountain and have a foot of snow. And it's depressing. But here, we're going to be on the flip side of that coin, my friends, because early in the spring, we came over here to where we're going to build the house, and there was still about 8 inches of snow in town, but we get here, and you get to our hillside, and it's bare ground. So we're going to go from the last place in town to have snow to the first place in town to have bare ground. And we're looking forward to that. So we got a lot going on, folks. A lot of things happening here in the next 2 weeks. For one thing, we got a meter on the building, and we're going to have full-blown power to the structure. No more extension cords on the ground. And then right over here, let me show you. Having a well drilled. In a few days, there'll be a well right there. They come over here and dig the slurry pit. They're going to put the well in. And then after that is in, I'm going to tunnel underneath my building here and bring the water in. And needless to say, Mama's looking forward to that. We will be off-grid and on-grid and have the best of both worlds. Yeah. A lot of changes in the works, huh, folks? It's quite exciting. It's overwhelming, too. At least it was. Because it's just the two of us doing all of this. Cutting all the timber, putting the road in here, building the structure. And sometimes we feel we bit off more than we can chew. So that's why we just stepped back and kind of redirected our thoughts and our energies. Because we have a nice home up there on the mountain. We were trying to get off the mountain for the winter, but now that we have just decided, well, we'll just spend another winter up there, take things a little bit slower. It's been more enjoyable, and we are making progress. And now with these big things like power coming in, a well, stuff like that, yeah, it's almost a culture shock. But we went up there, up to the camp, fixed it up, made a wonderful life, made so many wonderful memories. Just as I look back on the footage that we have taken and what I've shared with you, sometimes it's just amazing what we accomplished. My well was supposed to be drilled today, but I just come back from the property and there's nobody there. So, and I haven't gotten any text or anything, so maybe they're coming later. I don't know. Maybe they're not doing it because it's raining. Can they not drill for water in the rain? I don't know. So I switched gears and I'm out in the rainy woods, as you can see. Actually, it's kind of tapering off. The woods are all foggy though. And you know I like being in the woods in the rain, in the spruce. Very nice. In the mossy forest with the ferns and everything is all green and pretty right here. Yeah, getting foggy out here. It's just kind of cool. I like it. I'm going out to my little bush camp And I might light a fire and just, I don't know, kind of meditate or whatever, talk to the camera. I need a day in church, so this is my church. Yeah, so there's been a lot going on. But now archery season's going to kick up here, and I am not sure exactly what I'm going to do. Lori's really busy with her jobs, and I'm at the stage of the game over there where I really need another set of hands, and kind of difficult to proceed without getting frustrated. So I might just put the whole ball of wax to rest as soon as the well is drilled and leave it alone for a while. I haven't really gotten much done on my bush camp, and I want to get back to my cabin in New York, so we'll see. But I want to go out and check on my tent. I set up that Kodiak tent out here, and I really like it. And we have had some really torrential downpours, and I go out and I check, and there's not a drop of water in the tent, and I've been really impressed. So let's go check on the tent, and then I will make a little fire and share my thoughts with you all, kind of bring you up to speed on things. So every time that I have come out here and opened it up, there's never been any water in it, so I'll check it again. But as you can see, I think you can see it, the water just beads on the fabric. It's really amazing. Let me open it up and take a peek. Yeah, there's no water in here at all, not even the slightest little puddle, nothing. Totes with my stuff, and got my little bedroll here. It's awesome. And like I said, it's been out here about a month, several rainstorms. I'm really impressed with this tent. So the sky was starting to clear, but now it's raining pretty good again. But I don't know. I got a fire going, and I enjoy being out here. And I'm getting a little bit wet, but who cares? I really enjoy being out here. You know, there's a lot of changes on the horizon, folks. A lot of changes. But our direction hasn't changed, because we're still moving forward, and it's all part of the master plan. When we came up here, it was my lifelong dream to fix up this camp and live in it. And, you know, you watch this project unfold, that tar paper shack that I started with, and then did the total restoration and made a home, and then we moved in, and we've been living here, and you've watched us with all of our challenges and the way that we live in the winter time with this the snowmobile and ATV access and all of the roughing it. That's what we used to call it back in the day. And it's been a wonderful journey. So now with this other project, we're bringing in some modern conveniences. There's a lot of things that Lori doesn't really want to live without, and she's lived without them up here. So she will have the modern conveniences over there, but the house itself will be on solar power, like I said, but it'll be easy living. And having life being more convenient will allow me to get out and live this kind of stuff more often. And I want to spend a lot more time at my New York cabin and a lot more time doing this kind of stuff. And who knows, maybe in the future I'd build a cabin here. I don't really know. You know, I've lived off the grid really the majority of my adult life. Starting at 18 or 19 years old, I was building my cabin, and then moved in at 21 years old, and then I went from that cabin to another cabin to another cabin, and living in the woods for all of these years. And we never called it off-grid. We never had such trendy terms for things, but doing my thing. And then coming up here was the ultimate of it all. It's been great, made so many wonderful memories up here. So now we can go on and make new ones with a new homestead and new plans. And yeah, life is what you make of it, and I always say that. You know, a lot of people do the same thing their whole adult life. They get a job outside of college or high school, and they work the same job for like 4 or 5 decades and live in the same house and do the same thing day after day after day after day. And that's great if they are content with that, but most of them aren't, because they get older, maybe up above my age, and their body starts slowing down, and they can't do the things that they could do a decade ago, or they may be in their even worse shape, and they reflect on their life with a lot of regrets. And I've always talked about that. I do not want to be in that place. I want to look back and go, I did every freaking thing I ever wanted to do, and that's what I've always done, and I love that. So here we are again, starting a new chapter, doing more of the things that I want to do, and I've really missed this kind of stuff. Coming out here has kind of reconnected me with my childhood, because I used to do this stuff all the time, dreaming about the homesteading life that I have lived for the last 4 decades. So anyway, I'm gonna round up a little bit more wood and kindle my fire, and I don't care if it's raining, because I'm enjoying what I'm doing here today, and probably get to town later and upload this video. So that's it for now, folks. I'll keep you up to date with my project, and all the best to you, and God bless.
Frankie and the boss out walking in the woods, living life happy and free. Tracks in the snow everywhere they go. There's a pokey way up in that tree. A beaver built a pond where they have some fun, taking life a day at a time. Best friends until the end. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss.